Hello, book people. PT here. It's that part of the month where you're probably just sitting around asking yourself, I wonder, what is PT going to be reading in March? The first book I intend to read in March is a book that may not be the kind of book that I'm just going to sit down and read straight through, but I'm going to be dipping into it throughout the month, and that is Wonder Book by Jeff Vandermeer. And this is a beautiful book. Let me see if I can show you something. It's highly illustrated. Probably can't see this very well, but this is there's within that drawing, there's all kinds of little written things. It's the history of science fiction, and so in there you have on the far left side you have Robinson Crusoe and folklore culture, and then going towards the right you have space opera, cyberpunk, various things, and a bunch of different examples of that. Beautiful, all sorts of beautiful illustrations like that throughout this book. I love the cover too, with the little whale with the kind of the city on his back. What this book is basically a writing book about writing imaginative fiction. It's by Jeff Vandermeer. He's kind of the author of most of the stuff, I believe, and kind of the editor of the rest, because it includes contributions by George R.R. Martin, Lev Grossman, Neil Gaiman, Ursula K. Le Guin, Charles Yu, Joe Abercrombie, Peter Straub, Kim Stanley Robertson, among many others. I'm really looking forward to digging into this book. I was on the TBR podcast the other day, and one of the hosts had read this, and he said it's the kind of book where you just read a chapter and then get inspired to go write something. So it takes a while to get through, and it's a very thick book too. But man, these illustrations are beautiful. Even if I wasn't a writer, I would probably want to read this just because of all the beautiful, beautiful illustrations in this book, and just I love learning about how writers think about approach their craft and how they think about imaginative fiction, imaginative stuff. So that's Wonder Book by Jeff Vandermeer. Next up, I'll be reading The Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. This is the third book in his Magician trilogy. I think it's just called Magician. I love the first two books. When I get done with this trilogy, I will do a full review of it, but really looking forward to this one. Next, with the Daredevil TV show coming up in April on Netflix, I want to get caught up on my Daredevil. The only Daredevil I've read really too much is Frank Miller's Daredevil from the 80s, and a little bit of classic Daredevil, and Kevin Smith's run from that was probably late 90s maybe. One of the definitive runs that I have not read is the Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev run. It's a very long run, and it's pretty important to the character and is considered a very definitive run. So I've got the first volume of that here. I'm going to see how much of it I can get through. If I can get through the whole thing this month, I'll move on and go to Ed Brubaker's run, who's the writer who took over after that, and maybe even Mark Waid, the writer after that. I don't know, but I want to see how much Daredevil I can read, because I do like Daredevil, and I have not read enough of him. Next up, I'm going to read The Thousand Names by Django Wexler. This book, I don't know very much about it at all, but I've heard lots of good things about it. I believe it's kind of a flintlock fantasy. Is that right? I don't know. You know what? I'm not even going to read the synopsis because I like going into books blind, so I'm just going to read it and let you know what I think. I think it's kind of military. A lot of military stuff is happening in it. It's very military based, if I remember correctly. Also this month, I'm going to be reading The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This is kind of a classic war story. It's really highly regarded as one of the best war novels of all time. It's about Vietnam. It's fiction, but Tim O'Brien, the author, is a veteran of the Vietnam War, and it's supposed to be just incredibly moving, incredibly powerful. And I'm going to be listening to it on audio. The audio is actually narrated by Bryan Cranston, who you may know as TV's Walter White on Breaking Bad, among other things. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've heard that it's just so powerful, and it's hard to keep a dry eye when you're reading it. So I may be crying some manly tears during that one. Finally, I'm going to be continuing on with the Wheel of Time series. I'm going to be at book 3. I just actually am still reading book 2. But I'm going to be at book 3, which is, I believe, The Dragon Reborn. So I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm planning on for sure reading. We'll see if I get to anything else, what else I get to. But that's my plans for March. I'd love to hear what you're going to read in March. That'll do it for me this time. I will talk to you later. Bye.